Hey everybody, Happy New Year. This is my first vlog posting of the new year. And I have to admit I was spurred into action by the first press conference of the new year by Donald Trump. So I thought I'd do a little political potpourri today, talk about a little bit of everything. First of all, what about this bizarre circus-like press conference that Trump gave yesterday? I think it was really telling because one of the most profound things that I think has been said about Donald Trump was said by Jeb Bush early in the primary season when he called Trump a chaos candidate, because what we saw in the press conference yesterday was vintage Donald Trump. Trump loves chaos. And what I mean by that is Trump loves to bring everybody else in the room down to his primitive level. If you remember all those Republican debates that were characterized by shouting matches, name calling, Little Marco, Lion Ted, where angry outbursts took up about 2/3 of the debate and serious discussion took up about 1/3 of the debate. Well, I think Trump has found the formula that really suits him. Brag a lot, name call a lot, abuse your would-be enemies a lot, and there's little time left for anybody to embarrass you with a demanding, serious question about policy. And that's what happened yesterday. So we're going to see a lot more of this, unfortunately. I was listening to longtime, well-regarded Washington Post reporter David Ignatius, who described what we're going to see from Donald Trump in the next 4 years as a contact sport. And I think that's true, a full contact sport. The whole press conference yesterday was a setup for chaos. For example, Trump could have followed the procedure used by every president before him, which was to come to the lectern with a list of people he was going to call on them in an orderly way, and give lengthy, nuanced answers to their questions. The reason I think he refused to do that is because he knew that if he didn't have an orderly way of calling on people, what you would get would be a screaming contest for reporters vying for his attention. So in the end, it looked like one of those 1940s movies where reporters are trying to ask a politician a question, light bulbs are flashing right and left, and they look like a rabid pack of wolves. That was what Donald Trump wanted. That way he could go back to his constituency and say, see what a bad group of people these reporters are? Vintage Donald Trump. Now, another one of the takeaways from the press conference was Trump's constant use of the phrase fake news. So that was astonishing to me because Donald Trump is the godfather of fake news. After all, is there any purer form of fake news than birtherism? I mean, when Donald Trump in 2012 told us that he had sent his crack investigators to Hawaii and they had found out important information on Barack Obama's birthplace, that was fake news. I'm not even sure there were any investigators. He's never named them. Nobody's ever indicated who these people were, but clearly they found nothing. That was fake news. When Donald Trump told us that thousands and thousands of Muslims had celebrated and that Trump had watched them in Jersey City celebrating after 9/11, there's never been a shred of evidence to suggest that any such event ever took place. Fake news. When he told us that Ted Cruz's father may have been involved in the JFK assassination, complete fabrication, complete fake news. And there was an abundance of fake news in this press conference. For example, he told us that the economy was really doing very poorly and 96 million people were out of work and looking for work. Complete fabrication. The Bureau of Labor Statistics put out a report that said 96 million people are out of the workforce right now. What they meant by that was retirees, students, stay-at-home moms, stay-at-home dads, people who had abandoned the workplace because they no longer had to work in order to get health insurance. All these people are happily outside of the workforce. In fact, the Bureau of Labor Statistics said 5.5 million people are looking for work. Trump took this other figure, blew it into something completely fantastic, and used it to slam the Obama economy. Complete fake news. Trump's purported opposition to the Iraq War. Never did he publicly state any opposition to the Iraq War. Not only fake news, but fake news that he must have uttered 100 times during the course of the campaign. Didn't matter how many times a news organization knocked it down. He was back the next day stating a lie. So the press conference yesterday was so chaotic and so unproductive. It may be that the press as a whole has to come up with some sort of strategy to deal with this, because we may get these bizarre circus-like presentations month in and month out now from Donald Trump, who clearly not only hates the press, but is terrified by the press because he doesn't want to take questions. Final observation from yesterday is kind of a psychological observation. One of the things that's amazing to me about Donald Trump, and it sort of goes against almost everything we know about successful people, is that Trump has not grown one iota from the first day of campaigning when he talked about, they're sending us rapists and criminals. Some of them are good people. He has not grown one iota from that day till today. There was the thought that, well, this man is abusive, he's juvenile, he's narcissistic. But once he gets the nomination, he'll sort of realize the seriousness of the business that he's in and grow up a little. Never happened. Then there was the thought that, well, if he, in the unlikely event that he does gain the presidency, he will grow as a person, recognizing the enormity of the position that he's in. In fact, Barack Obama, in his last press conference, was asked about this and said Trump would realize the magnitude of his position and would adjust accordingly. Now, when Obama said that, it reminded me of the time when he won his own second term, Obama did, and remarked that he thought that all of the obstruction that he had experienced in his first term would go away and that the fever would break. And you know what? I believed him. I actually thought the Republicans can't maintain the same level of hostility and obstruction for 8 straight years. It's going to diminish now, and we're actually going to get some serious things done. Obama was wrong, and I was wrong. It was absolutely amazing. What we're going to have to accept over the next 4 years is that Donald Trump is what he is, and he has no capacity to grow in terms of maturity, in terms of empathy, or in terms of his ability to absorb new information and come up with new ideas. He doesn't want new information. He's the first president probably in history to not want to get intelligence briefings. It's really quite extraordinary. Finally today, I'd like to give a TV recommendation. For anybody who did not catch the episode of Blackish last night, the episode was called Lemons, dealt with the effect of the Trump election, not only on the African-American family that is featured in the show, but in particular on the workplace of the husband in the show. I thought it was a fabulous 30 minutes of television. It was moving, it was politically powerful, it was funny, and it was also very subversive at the same time. It was one of those rare episodes of a sitcom that transcends its genre. So I would encourage anybody who has any on-demand access to look for that episode, because it was terrific. Everybody who stands for decency and truth, it's going to be a tough 4 years. And we're going to have to stiffen our backs, stay engaged, and continue to put our principles forward. I'm Jeff Rowan. Thanks for watching.